Okay, hello. My name is Jim Porter, and you're on my channel, Skeptical Spectrum. And all I want you to do is watch this video and enjoy this video and comment on the video and share this video. You don't have to subscribe or hit the bell. Today's topic is about abortion. The title of my presentation is Abortion. Is an embryo a person? Let me begin. We know that our fertilized egg necessarily has a human genome. However, so do all the cells in your body. That is, except for gametes, which are the sperm in the egg. Otherwise, every cell in your body is a separate, distinct, living thing with a human genome. Even your skin cells are either alive or dead. An embryo or fetus is not different in that way, except maybe that it has its own genome distinct from your original genome. But do you know what else has its own genetic makeup within your body? Cancer. So having a distinct human genome does make a zygote, morula, or blastocyst a human life, but not necessarily a person. A personhood is a legal and philosophical distinction that I would argue has a bit of fuzziness to it. For example, a corporation is legally a person. Does every person have a right to life? So if you end the life of a corporation, can you be charged for the crime of murder or manslaughter? So a fertilized developing egg does not definitively hold any right to your life support based on the idea that it is alive and that it is a person even. We can define it as human tissue, but defining it as human tissue doesn't mean that we have determined that it is a person in the way that you and I are considered to be. Human, both biologically and philosophically, does not mean person, and person does not necessarily designate right to life. Perhaps to be defined as a person, the human has to be developed fully enough to know what the stakes are in life, some kind of consciousness of what it means to suffer and die, or live and have pleasure and suffer. Because we persons are capable of yearning for life or even death in perhaps a way that a fetus is not capable of. They got no zest necessarily, no aspirations, no intentions, just developing as nature's process develops every organism inside of a womb. Now, it might take a long time to develop this concept of aspirations and intentions, so maybe perhaps this is too harsh of a determiner. I mean, knowing the stakes of life might not be a thing that happens before age 1 or even age 12. Perhaps it would be simpler and more humane to say that, I don't know, a human is a person once they are physically detached from their host organism's body, meaning at birth. Maybe it's at conception, but we'd need some real good reasons to settle on that, and I've already dispensed with a couple of them. So the thesis of this presentation is that deciding on when a human fertilized egg develops into something that can be deemed a person and therefore afforded all the rights afforded to persons is a heart-wrenching and confusing task. That's the thesis. I propose that we persons who are aware, who are experienced at life, are obligated to wrestle with the question of when to call a growing human organism in the womb a person. I believe that one, we have to develop a legal definition for person based on the concepts of what it means to experience and anticipate suffering, something that human organisms who are outside of the womb are able to do. Something that a human organism inside the womb may not be able to do. We can determine these things with the help of science. Two, I believe that when considering a human organism still inside the womb, its personhood should be decided by the person in whose womb that organism resides. Whatever other decision the carrier makes later, say regarding abortion, the carrier of the organism possesses the final say in whether the organism within them is designated a person or not. So we get all the information as we allow science to inform us, and then we all rely on the person carrying the zygote in the womb to determine if and when it is a person. Considering the needs of the organism occupying the womb and the needs of the person with the occupied womb is the job of the person possessing the womb. This is point 3. Designating the occupier as not a person would logically result in defining that organism as part of the carrier's body, if the carrier chooses to so designate it. So it is her body, not just something within her body or his body if you're talking about trans males. After the carrier organism weighs all those needs and makes those determinations, the carrier has sole determination of whether the preponderance of suffering would be avoided by carrying the embryo to term or terminating the life of the embryo. That's stage 5 of my process. Stage 4. Number 5 is much like decisions in cases of euthanasia, but in this case, the carrier is the life support system. In a typical euthanasia type of situation, when one person must make decisions for a human organism outside of the womb, of any age, who has for a long time exhibited all the characteristics of other born persons, it can result in the removal of that once aware and striving person's life support, though it has been deemed a person. So can that of an embryo within the womb be denied life support that is the carrier's body, even if that embryo was designated a person by law and the carrier. If we do not begin to bring this question down, not to whether the thing inside the womb is a human or the thing inside the person is a person, then we're going to create a lot more suffering. So if we do not begin to bring this question down to the amelioration of suffering based on the needs of the people most directly involved, we will not be moving towards something that can alleviate the suffering of humans on the planet as a whole. Because I have dispatched above with the DNA-based assertions that the embryo and fetus have an unchallengeable right to life, fetched on the burden of the carrier, I have shown that possessing human tissue and even the title of person does not necessarily tell you what rights and needs a human organism in the womb has. The only sensible consideration left, I would say, for deciding on abortion or carrying a pregnancy to term is the amount of suffering that can be alleviated in the situation. And the only final arbiter of this decision is the pregnant person. Also, the stage of pregnancy does not dictate the decision to the pregnant person unless the pregnant person says so. Bringing a pregnancy to the point of delivery is a dangerous process compared to the process of terminating a pregnancy. Did you not know that? Now you do? Therefore, the carrier still must decide up to the very last minute if the occupying life form should be delivered alive and whole or terminated for the carrier's own safety, even if it has been provided the title of person. Right up to the very end, the person carrying the growing organism within them may decide, because suddenly they're feeling a wrenching pain that tells them that something's being damaged within them in the last seconds of attempting to deliver that baby, they should be able to decide, no, we have to very painlessly euthanize this full-term child and remove it from my body surgically because I believe I might be injured or even killed by continuing with this delivery. If we do not recognize that our current definitions of person have been developed largely based on pre-scientific beliefs, we will continue to increase suffering overall. My process frees us to use the best and latest knowledge to make a calculation on moral matters that derive from compassion and that more often result in a reasonably perceived benefit for all involved. This includes the best discernible outcome for the embryo, be it life or death. Thank you for watching to the end, and please share this video and comment on this video. I'd love to hear everything you hate about it. Thanks again.